process, but I have only 7 days left. Will I benefit from this? So he's saying, Kim pramatasya bahubhi paroksher hayaner iha varam muhurtam viditam ghatate shreyase yataha. Yes, please read.
What is the value of a prolonged life which is wasted, inexperienced by years in this world? Better a moment of full consciousness, because that gives one a start in searching after his supreme interest.
Yeah. So of long life, quantity of life doesn't matter. Quality of life matters. Okay. So you should not worry. A moment which has passed uselessly is better because by knowing so one can make efforts for spiritual life. Okay. Now, okay. Next verse. Okay. In the last line, Prabhupada is saying, in last paragraph, 3-4 lines, one should therefore utilize one's life in glorifying the Lord by all means without any offense. That's very important. J. Goswami is also mentioning, Prabhupada is quoting, all the process will be effective if we don't commit offense. Otherwise, Bahunam, what is that? Bahu janma yadi kare shravana kirtan, tadana pai Krishna pade premdhan. Okay. And what is the best antidote for all the offenses? How we can save ourselves from all offenses? Trinadapi suniche tarorapi sahishnana amanina mandena kirtaniya sadahari. That is the only way. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no other way. There is no shortcut. There is no way we can bypass this verse. We have to go through this verse whether we like it or not. Okay. Okay. Such activity of life, even for a moment, Prabhupada is writing, is never to be compared to a prolonged life of ignorance, like the lives of the tree and other living entities who may live for thousands of years without prosecuting spiritual advancement. So now he is giving the example. You have 7 days. I will give you an example of Khatwang Maharaj. Khatwang Nama Rajarishir Gyatve Yattam Ihayusha Muhratat Sarvam Utsrijya Gatavan Abhayam Hari. Yes.
The saintly king Katwanga, after being informed that the duration of his life would be only a moment more, at once freed himself from all material activities and took shelter of the supreme safety, the supreme personality of God.
Yeah. So he's giving an example. A fully responsible man should always be conscious of the prime duty of the present human form of life. The activities to meet the immediate necessities of material life are not should always be alert in his duties for the attainment of best in next life. Okay. Okay. So even a moment is sufficient. Like Prabhupada was asked once, how much time will it take to become fully Krishna conscious? What is the reply? In a moment. In a moment. It all depends on the intensity of our desire. Okay? Right. Then, tavapi tarhi kauravya saptaham jivitavadhi उपकल्प्य तत्सर्वं तावत् यत्संप्रयायिकम्.
Maharaj Parikshit, now your duration of life is limited to 7 more days. So during this time you can perform all those rituals which are needed for best purpose of your next life.
So we have a lot of time. Khatwang Maharaj could achieve perfection within one moment, one muhurat. One muhurat means 48 minutes. And you have 7 days, 16 to 24 into 7. So many hours, so many minutes. So you have a lot of time. You can easily achieve perfection. And I can tell myself, I also have a lot of time. But that doesn't mean I should become complacent. So there should be a sense of urgency. So Prabhupada is writing the problem. Can you read the problem, please?
Sukadeva Goswami, after citing the example of Maharaj Katwanga, who prepared himself for the next life within a very short time, encouraged Maharaj Parikshit by saying that since he still had 7 days at his disposal, he could easily take advantage of the time to prepare himself for the next life. Indirectly, the Goswami told Maharaj Parikshit that he should take shelter of the sound representation of the Lord for 7 days, still remaining in the duration of his life, and thus get himself liberated. In other words, everyone can best prepare himself for the next life simply by hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, as it was recited by Sukadeva Goswami.
Api eta hare kauravya saptaham jivita rituals for the next life. These rituals for the next life, they should not be taken ritualistically. You know, we should feel the importance. We should feel the importance of the sadhana bhakti, and the sadhana bhakti is meant for preparing ourselves for the next life. Now, this is the section. Now it is almost over. Parikshit Maharaj has been told conclusively that your sadhya should be getting love of Krishna and your sadhana should be bhakti. Okay, so everything is clear. But in that assembly, many yogis were there, many impersonalists were there. Now Parikshit Maharaj will start talking about Ashtanga Yoga. Why? Because he never wanted to give a very dogmatic presentation of bhakti. Okay, बस भक्ति करो, ठीक है? So many people are sitting there, so many other sages were sitting who were not in the devotional service. They say खुद भक्त है, भक्ति करने को बोल रहे हैं. They may not convinced. So now Parikshit Maharaj will be told about Ashtanga Yoga. And then Parikshit Maharaj, then Sukadeva Goswami will conclude that devotional service is the best sadhana. Okay, he will discuss about Ashtanga Yoga and conclude that devotional service is the supreme. It is the supreme sadhana for everyone. So that way he can attract all other yogis also into the fold of devotional service. So Sukadeva Goswami is teaching us that our presentation should not be very dogmatic. You understand dogmatic? Which cannot be questioned. 2 plus 2 is equal to 4. Why? It cannot be questioned. A, B, C, D, Y, A is written like this. It cannot be questioned. It is beyond all logic, beyond questioning. So you have to perform devotional service. So the other yogis may think it's very dogmatic. No. Okay, he's a fanatic. So Sukadeva Goswami will speak in length about Ashtanga Yoga. And then he'll prove that even if you are following Ashtanga Yoga without taking shelter of devotional service, okay. And see, even in Srimad Bhagavatam, second verse, Vyasadeva is saying, Dharma Pojit Ketamat Paramat Saranam Satam. That Shiva Bhagavatam talks only about pure devotional service, inferior than the devotional service. That's how they have been swept away. So in Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called Amal Puran, we have descriptions of everything. We have description of cosmology, we have description of Varnashram, we have description of Ashtanga Yoga also. Why? You know, sometimes when we hear the Prithu Maharaj episode, the Falashrutis are material benefits. Why? So the question may be asked, Srimad Bhagavatam is pure talks to talk about only pure devotional service, only the past and yeah.
He mentioned that it is to encourage every audience to attract all the audience for the story.
Yeah.
And the speaker also decides for the story so that audience, some audience who are
Everyone should be included. So, I mean, anyone else? Yeah. Sundar Chaitanya.
Like in Bhagavad Gita also, although Krishna wanted to establish bhakti,
Yeah.
he goes on telling karma yoga,
Yeah.
jnana yoga, ashtanga yoga, so that when it is established the supremacy with comparison with other yogas,
Yeah.
then there is without any doubt the supremacy is established.
Reasons why such other subject matters are asked. So I like to share with all of you. So what's Lokas Jananati Vidhva Chakre Satvat Samhita. This Srimad Bhagavad desires. And also, when Sutta Goswami is glorifying Shukdev Goswami, Akhish Chudisa, I come that he is saying the Srimad Bhagavatam out of compassion for the conditioned souls who are struggling to cross over this ocean of birth and death. Can I give a name? People with different kind of qualifications. Not everyone is qualified for pure devotional service. Although in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Srila Rupa Goswami says, there are no material disqualifications for performing devotional service. It's not that one has to be educated, one has to be wealthy, anything. No. No material disqualification. But still, one material qualification is required, that one should be at least a human being for performance devotional service. But what is the spiritual qualification required for performing pure devotional service? Attraction for the Lord. Kind of faith should be there, Then one can perform devotional service. Now in that assembly, there were many sages who may not have faith in pure devotional service. And they may not take the words of Shukdev Goswami as it is. Okay, just perform hearing, chanting and remembrance of Krishna, that's it. Hare Nama Anukirtanam, finished. No. So they will be interested, yes, we are on that path. And then Shukdev goes, because not everyone is qualified for pure devotional service. In Srimad Bhagavatam, such topics are discussed. In the 11th canto also, when the Lord Krishna, in the Uddhav Gita, Krishna is describing to Uddhava, that until unless one develops faith in hearing my pastimes, one should not give up his varnashram duties. One should keep on performing his varnashram duties. Okay? Because if he has not developed complete faith in hearing of the Lord's pastimes, and he has faith in performance of varnashram duty, so he'll be nowhere if he gives up varnashram duty. So till the time he develops complete faith in the hearing, he should keep on performing his prescribed duties. So that way, because not everyone is qualified for pure devotional service, so certain subject matters are also mentioned in Srimad Bhagavatam. Third reason is, like Srimad Bhagavatam is Mahapuran. So any literature will be called Mahapuran if it has 10 subject matters. No. Ata sarva sargasya sthanam poshanam utaya manvantare shanukatha nirodha mukti ashraya. So these 10 subject matters are in all the 18 Mahapuranas are there. Then what is the difference in Srimad Bhagavatam and other Puranas? The difference is in the Srimad Bhagavatam is that these 9 subject matters, other 9 subject matters, they are meant to glorify the 10 subject matter. Ashraya. That is the uniqueness of Srimad Bhagavatam. And these 9 subject matters have been very systematically arranged to glorify the 10 subject matter. Just like in the altar of Radha Ras Bihari, we have, the spotlights. So if these lights are on, the deities look more beautiful. Radha Ras Bihari are as themselves, they are very beautiful. But if the focus lights are there, they look more beautiful. Appreciate that beauty so much. So similarly, these 9 cantos, 9 subject matters are so arranged in a systematic manner that they glorify the 10 subject matter. Okay. That's how in this Srimad Bhagavatam we have discussion of cosmology also, we have discussion of Varnashram also in detail in the 7th canto, in the 11th canto. Varnashram has been described in detail. So one may say, what Varnashram has to do with pure devotional service? No. Because ultimately all these topics are glorifying the 10th topic, that is Ashraya. That will help us to take shelter of Lord Krishna. Okay. So what was the first reason? It is meant for both conditioned soul as well as. And second reason, everyone is not qualified. 10th subject matters of Purana are meant to glorify the 10th subject matter. It leads to purification. All the subject matter. 2753. Switch it on. Coming? Yeah. It's visible? Not very clear. Font for now. Okay. Good. So it's the last verse of 7th chapter of 2nd canto. Maya varnato amushya ईश्वरस्य अनुमोदता शृण्वता श्रद्धया नित्यं मायात्मा न मूयति. Translation.
Activities in association with his different energies should be described, appreciated and heard in accordance with the teachings of the Supreme Lord. If this is not done regularly with devotion and respect,
If it's done,
if this is done regularly with devotion and respect, one is sure to get out of the illusory energy of the Lord.
yeah. Shrunotam Shraddhaya Nityam, about universal form. daily we should hear, daily means regularly. No, we should hear and discuss about universal form. That will lead us out of this illusory material world. So purport is,
The science of learning a subject matter seriously is different from the sentiments of fanatics. Fanatics or fools may consider the Lord's activities in relation with the external energy to be useless for them, and they may falsely claim to be higher participants in the internal energy of the Lord. But factually, the Lord's activities in relation with this external energy and the internal energy are equally good. On the other hand, those who are not completely free from the clutches of Lord's external energy should devotedly hear regularly about the activities of the Lord in relation with the external energy. They should not foolishly jump up to the activities of the internal energy, falsely attracted by the Lord's internal potential activities like the Ras Leela. The cheap reciters of the Bhagavatam are very much enthusiastic about Lord's internal potential activities, and the pseudo-devotees absorbed in material sense enjoyment falsely jump to the stage of liberated souls and thus fall down deeply into the clutches of external energy. Some of them think that to hear about the pastimes of Lord means to hear about his activities with the gopis or about his pastimes like lifting the Govardhan hill, and they have nothing to do with the Lord's plenary expansions as the Purushavtaras and their pastimes of creation, maintenance or annihilation of the material worlds. But a pure devotee knows that there is no difference between the pastime of the Lord either in Ras Leela or in creation, maintenance and destruction of the material world. Rather, the descriptions of such activities of the Lord as the Purushavtaras are specifically meant for persons who are in the clutches of the external energy. Topics like the Ras Leela are meant for the liberated souls and not for the conditioned souls. The conditioned souls therefore must hear with appreciation and devotion the Lord's pastimes in relationship with external energy. And such acts are as good as the hearing of Ras Leela in the liberated stage. The conditioned soul should not imitate the activities of liberated souls. Lord Sri Chaitanya never indulged in hearing the Ras Leela with ordinary men. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, the science of God, the first 9 cantos, prepare the ground for hearing the 10th canto. This will be further explained in the last chapter of this canto. In the 3rd canto, it will be more explicit. A pure devotee of the Lord, therefore, must begin reading or hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from very beginning and not from the 10th canto. We have several times been requested by some so-called devotees to take up the 10th canto immediately. But we have refrained from such an action because we wish to present Srimad Bhagavatam as the science of Godhead and not as the sensuous understanding for the conditioned souls. This is forbidden by such authorities as Sri Brahmaji. By reading and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam as a scientific presentation, the conditioned souls will gradually be promoted to the higher status of transcendental knowledge after being freed from the illusory energy based on sense enjoyment.
Yeah. So Prabhupada is writing Srimad Bhagavatam is a scientific presentation in a very scientific manner. And then we'll see that Parikshit Maharaj is questioning and Shukdev Goswami is answering is also in a very sequential manner, in a very scientific manner. You know. And here you see even the Maitreya Vidura is inquiring from the Maitreya Muni, he's starting from the general queries, you know, about this material world, how one can remain happy in this material world. Even Prithu Maharaj is inquiring from the Sanat Kumar, very general queries. Gradually they are building up, you know. And all the glorification of the Lord also, all devotees, we are seeing the Lord face to face, we are glorifying. Everyone is first glorifying his creation. You are the creator, you are the beyond three modes of nature, you know. If you see all the prayers, they start like this only. Okay, so it's a very scientific presentation in a very scientific manner. Okay, so why we are discussing this? Because we should develop some appreciation for universal form. Normally, when this universal form will be discussed, so we say, okay, when will be over? We have nothing to do with it. We don't worship it. We don't remember universal form. We don't have anything to do. No, but it's very, very essential. More we'll appreciate Srishti Leela, more will become qualified to relish the other subject matters. Okay, and the third canto, Srila Prabhupada mentions this creation Leela is like the Ras Leela of Garbhodakshai Vishnu. It's the Ras Leela of Garbhodakshai Vishnu with the external potency. Okay, so this is the fourth reason. It leads to our purification. And the fifth reason is that it is a kind of a prerequisite for understanding Lord's internal potencies, pastimes. So there's an interesting purport. It is the fifth canto, last verse, last but one verse, 5:26:38. You know, 5:26:38. The Shukdev Goswami, before finishing the fifth canto, he's giving a very nice description. Someone can read this, please? It's not very clear. It's not focused, sharp.
In the beginning of the second and third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, I have already described how many,
Yeah, this is better. Yes.
how one can progress on the path of liberation. In the Puranas, the vast universal existence, which is like an egg divided into 14 parts, is described. This vast form is considered the eternal body of the Lord, created by His
external body.
External body of the Lord, created by His energy and qualities. It is generally called Virata Rupa. If one reads the description of this external form of the Lord with great faith, or if one hear about it or explain it to others to propagate Bhagavad Dharma or Krishna consciousness, with faith and devotion in spiritual consciousness, Krishna consciousness will gradually increase. Although developing this consciousness is very difficult, by this process one can purify himself and gradually come to the awareness of the Supreme Absolute Truth.
Yeah. Okay. So in this translation, Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur is given a different way. He's saying the Lord's topic with his internal potencies are like Upanishads, very difficult to understand. And in comparison to that, Lord's dealing with the external potencies is easier. Normally we think other way around. You know, second, third, fourth, fifth canto, they talk about Sarga, Visarga, Sthanam. Fifth canto will really test our faith, and the cosmology will be described. You just go overhead, what's happening. But we have to keep our faith. So, now the sixth canto portion, how Lord protects his devotees. So we relish those pastimes. How Lord is saving Gajendra, how Lord is dealing with Bali Maharaj, how Lord is stealing butter, lifting over the hill. They seem to be more juicy and we can relate with them. But with the universal form, now we'll start discussing. We are imagining this higher planets are the head of the Lord, lower planets are the feet of the Lord, this is the belly of the Lord. We cannot relate with that. So we find it very difficult. But Shukdev Goswami is saying, these topics are easier than those topics when the Lord is dealing with his internal potency. Those topics are like Upanishads, very difficult to understand. But they will become easy to understand if we appreciate these topics, the universal form of the Lord. So why we are discussing this? Now get ready for appreciating the universal form of the Lord. So now we'll have all those discussions. Before that, I will have some presentation. Okay. This is from Bhagavad Prabhupada. So it will just summarize what we have discussed till now. So verse 1 to 11 shows the superiority of the bhakti, and 12 to 14, quality of life matters, not the quality. And now we are going to start the Ashtanga Yoga for attaining liberation. Okay. So this is what we have discussed. Ultimate duty of every person, especially one who is about to die, and then he establishes the superiority of the bhakti. He appreciates his questions. Grahamedi life. So all we have discussed. Infallible soldiers. Tasmat Bharat Sarvatman is also we have discussed. Then this is summary. It will be good if you can revise this. Sixth verse is what? What was that verse? Ante Narayana Smriti. What is the seventh verse? Is the proof. Yeah, what? Many self-realized sages have taken pleasure in Harikatha. Eighth and ninth is example of himself. Although Brahma realized, Lord's pastime attracted my heart. 10th is the Falashruti. If we hear Srimad Bhagavatam, we develop unflinching faith towards Krishna. And 9th is Eta Nirvidamananam Hare Namanu Kirtanam. And then 12 to 14 is quality of life matters, not the quantity. Even a moment was sufficient for Katwang Maharaj. You still have 15 days. Okay. Now Ashtanga Yoga is being described. Right? So we'll come to Ashtanga Yoga. Antakale tu Purusha Agate Gata Sadvasa Chindyada Sangha Shastrena Spriham Dehenu Ye Chatam. Translation, please.
At the last stage of one's life, one should be bold enough not to be afraid of death. But one must cut off all attachment to material body and everything pertaining to it, and all the desire thereof.
Okay. So now he is describing about the Ashtanga Yoga. Okay. So Prabhupada is describing what is death. You can read from this. It is highlighted here. Death is therefore. It may not be visible from here. You can read from your book. Death is therefore a process of.
Death is therefore a process of changing the body at the end of the duration of the present life. An intelligent person must be prepared for this and must try to have the best type of body in the next life. The best type of body is a spiritual body, which is obtained by those who go back to the kingdom of God or enters the realm of Brahman. In the second chapter of the canto, this matter will be broadly discussed, but as far as the change of body is concerned, one must prepare now for the next life.
Yes. So this experience we can have of dying when we sleep. So death means Prabhupada is also describing sleeping for few months. So next is describing, therefore one has only to change the aspiration during the course of this present body. And for this there is need
need of training in the current duration of human life. This training can begin at any stage of life or even a few seconds before death. But the usual procedure is for one to get the training from very early life, from the stage of brahmacharya, and gradually progress to the grihastha, vanprastha, and sannyas orders of life.
Continue.
And the training in the vanprastha and sannyas.
This institution, the
The institution which gives such training is called a Varnashram Dharma, or the system of Sanatan Dharma, the best procedure for making the human life perfect. One is therefore required to give up the attachment to family or social or political life just at the age of 50 years, if not earlier. And the training in the Vanprastha and Sannyas ashram is given for preparation of the next life. Foolish?
Yes. So, Prabhupada is especially mentioning those who have crossed 50. They should be very serious for preparing for the next life. And they should take the notice of the death very, very seriously. Till 50 we have not died, but we are very, very near to death. And even above 50 here. Yeah, both of us. So we have to take this notice very seriously. Anyway, death can come for anyone at any time. But those who have crossed 50, that means they should take this notice very seriously. And one should start preparing for the next life. Different way of looking at the things. Okay. And then Prabhupada says, one must have a chance for better desires. Please, Prabhupada.
One must have a chance for better desires, or otherwise there is no chance of giving up such morbid desires. Desire is the concomitant factor of the living entity.
Continue.
The living entity is eternal, and therefore his desires, which are natural for a living being, are also eternal. One cannot therefore stop desiring, but the subject matter for desire can be changed. So one must develop the desires for returning home back to Godhead, and automatically the desire for material gain, material honor, material popularity will diminish in proportion to the development of devotional service.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So it's very important that we make our desire to go back to Godhead very, very strong. And if this desire is strong, then the other material desires will go weak. If we're not making this desire strong, so we'll keep all in our heart all these material desires. Okay, that verse 4:22-39. Yat pad pankaj palash vilas bhaktya. What is that? Karmashyam gatitam udgantya santa tadvan arik matyo yatyo piruddha shota ganasta maranam bhajvasudevam. Okay. Those devotees who are always engaged in thinking of the lotus feet of the Lord, for them very easily they can uproot the granthi, karmashyam, udgantya. They can very easily uproot the granthi for performing fruitive activities. Okay. And the Prabhupada gives in the example, when the rivers merge into the ocean, the rivers are like our material desires. When they merge into the oceanic waves are much stronger than the waves of river. So that way our spiritual desires should be stronger than the material desires. So then will not be affected by the material desires. Okay. So a yogi should not be afraid of death. Rather, the yogi should prepare himself for the death for next life. Now how he prepares for his next life? Through the Ashtanga Yoga, Yam, Niyam, Asan, Pranayam, Pratyahar, Dharana, Dhyan, Samadhi. So all these 8 steps will be described and how he gets liberated. Okay. So 16th verse. Grahat pravrjito dhira punya tirtha jalapluta shucho vivekta asino vidhivata kalpitasane. Yes.
One should leave home and practice self-control. In a sacred place, he should bathe regularly and sit down in a lonely place, duly sanctified.
Yeah. So here's Yam and Niyam. Okay. Yam means don'ts, Niyam means do's. Okay. So one Niyam is Brahmacharya. Yam is Brahmacharya. One should have self-control. And he should bathe daily. And then he should sit down in a lonely place, duly sanctified, that is asana. So this verse is describing yam, niyam and asana. Okay. Prabhupada is mentioning about this. In order to be saved from the danger of spoiling the human form of life, you can read this.
In order to be saved from the danger of spoiling the human form of life and being attached to the unreal things, one must take warning of death at the age of 50, if not earlier. The principle is that one should take it for granted that the death warning is already there, even prior to the attainment of 50 years of age. And thus, at any stage of life, one should prepare himself for the better next life, for a better next life.
Yes. So what is that? One
One is recommended to quit home just to get rid of material attachment, because one who sticks to family life until death cannot get rid of material attachments, and as long as one is materially attached, one cannot understand spiritual freedom. One should not, however, become self-complacent simply by leaving home or by creating another home at the holy place, either lawfully or unlawfully. Many persons leave home and go for such holy places, but due to bad association, again becomes family men by illicit connections with the opposite sex. The illusory energy of matter is so strong that one is apt to be under such illusion at every stage of life, even after quitting one's happy home. Therefore, it is essential that one practice self-control by celibacy without the least desire for sex indulgence. For a man desiring to improve the condition of his existence, sex indulgence is considered suicidal or even worse. Therefore, to live apart from family life means to become self-controlled in regard to all sense desires, especially sex desire.
It's very relevant for all of us. We all have left our homes, and when we are joined, we must have rebelled, kind of a revolution. We must have felt a lot of opposition. But normally it is seen after joining, after a few years, the Prabhupada is saying, one makes another home, in illicit way or licit way. So Prabhupada is saying, living home means living sex life. One should not think of sex life. Okay. Otherwise, one has left home, again one makes his own home, a new home. So that happens because we lack self-control. Okay. So we should have sense control. It's not that one cannot change ashram. If he wants to change ashram, he can change ashram. But generally speaking, in one of the lectures, Prabhupada is saying, our centers are like Vaikuntha. So one should be very careful that one should not fall down from Vaikuntha. One should not go out of the temple. One should be very, very careful. So that way the sense control will always help us. And the main sense control is brahmacharya. So one should be very, very strict with it. And his Prabhupada is writing that it is essential one practices self-control by celibacy with the least desire for sex indulgence. And it is very difficult in metros like Delhi and Mumbai. Very, very difficult. The whole atmosphere is surcharged with passion, And in that we have to maintain self-control. So the only thing which can keep us safe is what? Hare Namanu Kirtanam. In the association of devotees chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram. In the fifth canto, Prabhupada is writing, one who is very strictly chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra, trying to avoid all offenses. Then by the mercy of Haridas Thakur, one can be saved from the allurement of woman. But if one is not very strict, then any moment one can play prey to the woman, opposite sex. So one has to be very, very strict in avoiding offenses and strictly follow all the rules and regulations. Otherwise, it's very difficult to maintain self-control. So this is the yam, niyam and asan. It is described here. Okay. Then abhyasena manasa shuddham Tivrida Brahmakaksharam Param Mano Yajet Jitsvaso Brahma Bija Avismaran.
Brahmabijam Havismaram.
Yes, please.
After sitting in the above manner, make the mind remember the three transcendental letters A, O, Om.
Om.
And by regulating the breathing process, control the mind so as not to forget the transcendental seed.
What is this? Which process? Which yang of Ashtanga Yoga? Pranayam. You know? Chanting Om. Om. Okay. So Prabhupada is writing that even a mentally deranged man can be cured by the treatment of transcendental sound. You know? It has so much of power. Okay. So the Omkar is the seed of all transcendental sound, and it is only the transcendental sound which can bring about the desired change of mind and the senses. So we should have complete faith in the power of transcendental sound. Right? Okay. Niyached vishebhyokshan manasa buddhi sarathi Manaha karma bhi akshiptam Shubharte dharaye dhiya. Yes.
Gradually, as the mind becomes progressively spiritualized, withdraw it from sense activities, and by intelligence the senses will be controlled. The mind, too absorbed in material activities, can be engaged in the service of the personality of Godhead and become fixed in full transcendental consciousness.
Yeah. So what we have to do now is, after pranayam, what will come? Pratyahar. Withdrawing the mind and the senses from the sense objects. And for that, we have to take help from intelligence. Intelligence will give us determination, and intelligence will give us discrimination. Okay? And we are chanting the holy name, the mind may say, chalo thoda pani pi ke aate hain. Intelligence will say, no, shut up, sit down, complete the whole plant. You know? So mind may give many ideas, but the intelligence, we can be determined and we can discriminate which ideas to follow and which ideas we have to reject. The Vishwanath Thakur in his commentary says, I have highlighted in green, mind is described as that which is impossible to make motionless by pranayam and other process because of the extreme strength of previous karmas. So why mind becomes powerful? Previous sanskaras, you know. So our previous karmas are there, the mind is the storehouse, so that makes the mind very, very difficult to control. Even with pranayam, we are not able to control the mind. So we have to take the help of intelligence. And what is the food for intelligence? Scriptures. So daily reading of Srila Prabhupada books. That's why all our spiritual masters insist on this. We have to daily read Prabhupada books. You know? I think Jayapataka Goswami Maharaj has read Bhagavad Gita more than 100 times. You know, Chaitanya Bhagavat also more than 100 times. You know, that's why, you know, even at this stage, they are so alert. So if we are now young and healthy, if we are not keeping our mind and intelligence healthy now, in the old age, very difficult to remember Krishna. You know, we can see the live examples. You know, why even from the ICU he is giving classes, Chaitanya Bhagavat classes. He still remembers all the past times. He can recite all those prayers. Why? How? You know, because in his young days he has done so much of reading, hearing. So it has gone into once he came to our temple. So I was alone with him. So I just asked him, Maharaj, even at this stage, how you are so enthusiastic? So he said, what can I do? Gauranga Mahaprabhu's pastimes are so nectarian. I have to be enthusiastic. So that's how he is relishing those pastimes. So just by reading once, we won't relish the pastimes. Reading it again and again and again and again. That's how the intelligence will give us a determination also, discrimination also. Otherwise, in such physical state, it's very, very difficult to maintain, right mental conditions. Very, very difficult. You know. You know. And there's one more anecdote of Ish Devi Mata. You heard of that? Ish Devi Mata is a Prabhupada disciple. And even at the stage of 90 years, she was distributing books. And once she was distributing books in Boston, one mall, supermarket, she fell unconscious. She got a stroke and she was admitted. And due to that stroke, she forgot everything about his name, activities, everything she forgot. And she started acting like a child. She could not bathe himself, she could not dress herself, she could not eat herself, like a child, 90-year-old old lady. So when His Holiness Niranjan Swami Maharaj came to know about this, he made a call to the nursing home and said, I want to speak to this. And they gave the phone to Mataji. And as soon as he said, I am Niranjan Swami here, the Ishdevi Mata started shouting, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. The nurse was surprised. For so long she was not responding. Now to a phone call she has responded. So she requested Niranjan Swami, please come and visit. We were not able to make any change in her condition. Please come. So Niranjan Swami Maharaj along with his disciple, they went to meet Ishdevi Mataji. And as soon as she saw Niranjan Swami Maharaj, his disciple was having Jap Mala. The Mataji took Jap Mala of that disciple and started chanting, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. The disciple said, Maharaj, my Mala. Maharaj, I'll give you another Mala, don't worry. Let her chant. So that shows what? If in our young days, we have this strong impression of chanting, hearing, reading, that will remain in our heart, That will save us. Otherwise, when we get old, it's very painful. It's very frustrating, But we have this in our heart, then the life becomes, and then we are not disturbed. Then we are not disturbed. So it's very essential that we make our intelligence sharp and the mind should be full of thoughts of Krishna. But normally when we are dealing with devotees, when we are in this atmosphere, big temple, so mind and intelligence get absorbed in politics, this, that, why it is happening, why that is not happening, this, that, groupism. So we get so much distracted. So much distracted. And when we become old and these things won't help. This will give us more pain. This thing will give us more pain. So we have to train our mind in such a way, whatever may be the condition, we should always keep on remembering, keep on chanting the holy name, past tense. We should never compromise on our reading of the scriptures, discussing the scriptures, because this is our real wealth. This is what the challenge, we have to face. No? What do you say, Sundar Chaitanya Prabhu? Any comment on this?
Was leaving aside everything, we have come here.
Yeah.
And then we have left so many responsibilities.
Yeah.
So if we don't take this responsibility of purifying ourselves with the help of our Guru and the scriptures, then we'll not be doing any proper, it's like we'll be losing our that life also and this life also.
Yeah.
There is no proper justice we are doing by leaving that responsibility.
Yeah.
If you don't take this responsibility of purification, which happens by, and specifically brahmachari life is meant for this.
Yes.
So if we come in Gurukul and then we don't do Swadhyay, then yes.
It's very important. Yeah. Anyone else, please?
Prabhuji, generally, many times it comes across this. See, in Engage, one has to, apart from your morning program and your activities, more time to be given for services. Because service only, at the Engage, you have to do much Even in outside world also they say, when you are healthy and hale, you have to work a lot so that rest your life will be better. So generally that same material world strategy here, many times we come across the same thing. अभी सेवा करो, बाद में स्वाध्याय, अभी पहले सेवा का टाइम.
ऐसा किसी ने नहीं बोला होगा आप. No one must have said अभी सेवा करो बाद में स्वाध्याय. No. Work now, samadhi later. That was there. The work includes savadhyaya. It's not. I mean, if you are chanting, hearing, savadhyaya, it's all there in our sadhana. That has to be done.
और इसका सपोर्टिव स्टेटमेंट ये भी मिलता है. प्रभुपाद जी ने कहा like a soldiers
Yeah.
in the army.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
statement also
Yes.
adds.
So we are soldiers, but soldiers should be fully trained to go to the border and use the gun. So by reading and hearing, we are getting trained how to fight. So Jai Bharat Mata Ki Jai, but we don't know how to shoot. So we'll be shot. What is the point? Just enthusiasm, hollow enthusiasm won't matter. We have to be trained. We have to train ourselves. You know, then we can fight with Maya. Otherwise, we'll be clean bowled. No scope for us. Okay, we'll stop here. I think. Yeah, it's 1:30. Any other question or comments? So this was what? Pratyahar. You know? Okay. Right, thank you. We'll meet at 2:30 then. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vaishnava ki jai.